Hello viewers, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my channel Learning English with Hamid. We continue with our series on tenses, and as part of that series today we discuss. So let's start. We study the formation first, and we have the subject. In any tense we have the subject first, including this tense. So we have the subject first, and then we have two auxiliaries in this tense: have, has, plus verb plus ing, and then object optional, and then we have either since or for, and even that since or for is also optional. So positive sentence, we do positive sentences first. So for example, I'm sure you know when the subject is I, we, you, they. So the auxiliary is have. So I have been, verb first form plus ing. I have been learning English since 2010, for example. So I can also say I have been learning English. Maybe we don't have this part, but we may have it as well.
All my life, I've been waiting for someone, and when I find her, she's a fish.
Right. Excuse me, please.
Ah, our new African.
Pardon?
Yeah, I've been expecting you.
So I've been learning English since 2010, for example. We have been living here for 3 years.
We've been looking for you, miss.
We have been living here. For example, you talk about your house. You talk about your accommodation, for example. You say, I've been living here. We have been living here for 3 years, for 5 years.
To inciting revolution by enabling acts of terror in nations friendly to Western interests. IMF suspects this to be the same shadow organization you have been tracking for the last year, also known as the Syndicate.
And if the subject is he, she, it, so she has been cooking, for example. So here if you see, no time expression, no object. It has been raining. Yes, he, she, it has.
Fletcher has just been telling me how much he thinks of you.
Negative sentence is here on this side of the board. So the general rule is use not after the auxiliary to make the sentence negative. So we have the auxiliary have and has. So just put not after that auxiliary. So I have been learning. I have not been learning since 2020, for example. She has been. She has not been. She has not been studying since yesterday, for example. Or it has not been raining since morning. It has been raining since 3 p.m., for example. Moving on, the interrogative sentences. Just bring the auxiliary to the beginning of the sentence. Whatever the auxiliary is, bring it to the beginning of the sentence. The sentence becomes interrogative. So here we bring have or has to the beginning to make the sentence interrogative. So have you been helping him, for example? So have before the subject. Has he been playing lately, for example? So interrogative sentences. Next, we study a few more points about this tense. Now, if we have a WH word like when, where, how, so we use that word before the auxiliary. For example, what have you been doing since morning? Yes, what have you been doing since morning? What have they been doing since morning, for example? Now, usage. So the first use, this tense is used for an action which started in the past. The action started in the past and it is still continuing. It still continues into the present, and it may also continue in the future also.
I'm such a hypocrite. Something's up.
We've been picking up some chatter about potential disruptions.
For example, if I talk about myself, so I'll say I have been teaching English for the last 20 years. So I started teaching in the past 20 years ago. I'm still teaching, and hopefully I'll continue teaching in the future as well. So we use this tense for like 3 actions. Started in the past, still continuing, may continue into the future.
Hobbits have been living and farming in the 4 farthings of the Shire for many hundreds of years. Quite content.
The next usage is, this tense is used for an action which started in the past, but it's not continuing now. It has finished. Started in the past, and that action is finished now. For example, you call your friend, you're looking for your friend, and you call your friend, but he or she is inaccessible. His phone can't be reached, or her phone can't be reached, for example, and all of a sudden your friend turns up and you ask him or her, where have you been? I have been looking for you since morning. So where were you, or where have you been? Where were you? But that's not our focus. Our focus is this: I have been looking for you since morning. So if you say this sentence to your friend, I have been looking for you since morning, it means like you started, and let's say it's evening now, so you started the searching, looking for your friends in the morning, and now when you see your friend, so it's over now. So this tense is used for an action which happened in the past, started in the past, but is finished now. And this clip from Titanic also shows the same point. Watch it.
We've been looking for you, mates.
Yes, I'm sure you saw that. The man told the main characters, where were you? We've been looking for you. So it means the action is finished now. Or I have been watching videos. So you tell someone, I've been watching videos. It means I've been watching video maybe for the past 2-3 hours, or since morning, or since yesterday, and now the action is over. We discuss a few more points after this. A third use now, which is somehow related to the second one. The present perfect continuous tense is used for a past action that has recently finished, that has stopped recently, but there is a result now. For example, you say, I'm exhausted, tired, because I have been hiking, because I have been running. Another example is, why is the ground wet? You ask your friend, why is the ground wet? Has it been raining? So it's been raining, that's why the ground is wet. So the ground is wet is the result, and it has been raining. The present perfect continuous tense. And in a class, the teacher explains something, and the student doesn't understand. The student asks a question. So maybe if there is a bad temper teacher, so he or she might say, well, you don't understand because you have not been paying attention. So you don't understand because you have not been paying attention. So there is a result, and that result is because of an action that has stopped now, but we can see the result. That's it, 3 uses. But one more point, very important point that students often confuse, and that is where to use for, where to use since. So I've drawn a table here, and this table should help you. So remember, for is used for a period of time, for a length of time. Since is used for a point in time, specific point. For example, 20 years. 20 years, I told you I've been teaching for 20 years. So this is a period or a length of time. But if I mention a specific year, then I'll use since. For example, I have been teaching since 2002. 20 years, okay, 5 hours. I have been working for 5 hours. I have been working since morning, for example. That's a point in time. Another period of time, for example, is 2 days. I've been working for 2 days. I've been working since Tuesday, for example. For centuries, yes, humans have been doing this for centuries. Or humans have, for example, damaging the environment, for example, for centuries, let's say, for 1 or 2 centuries now. Or humans have been damaging the environment since 18th century, the 18th century, for example. For ages, I haven't seen you for ages. Where were you, for example? Or I have been learning English for ages, for example. Or I have been learning English since I left school. So, a point in time since I left school, since my university, for example. And I have been traveling for 3 days. I have been traveling since Monday. One more example. That's it for today. I hope you like this video. So I'll continue with this. I'll do part 2 as well on this tense. And I'm sure you like this one. So if you like this one, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and come back for more videos. See you.